Welcome to this channel. The channel is for educations and culture based on historical and scientific evidence. So today I like to start a new topic, which is going to bring us to a new paradigm. No, you don't heard me wrong. Yes, another paradigm. See, human civilizations is growing because of bridging and merging. For example, the Chinese civilizations, you got the Buddha's teaching from India to China. The first period of time, the Chinese emperor is translating the teaching of Buddha. And then the second period is the teaching of the Buddha much bridged with the teaching of Taoist, the teaching of Confucians, and so forth. And due to that, you evolve into Zen Buddhism. Okay, so Zen is a, a, a new paradigm from the evolutions. So while Buddhism in India become weakened due to time change and so forth, the Chinese Zen is growing. And Zen is the teaching of Buddha, but it is no longer what the uh, teaching of the Buddha in India. It is a different thing with the same core, which is the teaching of the Buddha. Now you have an expand, outgrowing uh, teaching. And in the human civilization, it always has to be this way, or else die off. For example, we cannot say that, oh, this is the Chinese tradition. Like many believe that when they do Taoist art or Tai Chi, they believe that the Taoist art is the ultimate. Well, those are dying. Why? It actually trapped itself in a bubble of the past. Thus, today you can see all the Taoists and Tai Chi practitioner, even they say there's Zhang Shangfeng, who is the best fighter, and so forth, so forth. You really don't know what it is. You really cannot realize it. The Chinese not doing that. Okay. So the Chinese, even the Taoists, the Confucians, they all actually bridge together. For example, samatha, samatha, or calmness practice in the Buddha's teaching, samatha, vipassana, samatha. When it went to China, so you need a words to translate what is samatha. So how did they do it? Well, in the teaching of the Confucians, in the 大学, there is 指定静安, 指, settle. So, based on the experience, the direct experience, the Chinese say, okay, this samatha. What is samatha? Not just words. It is 指 of the uh, Confucian teaching. That's why today Samatha and Vipassana is called 止观, 止. That is from the teaching of the Confucian. So because of it evolve, the platform grow, and thus it continue to grow. But after a certain century, you need this going again and again. For Chinese Kung Fu, when you get to Jena Qi Ji Guang, you can see that the Chinese Kung Fu in many fields have actually evolved with the Japanese martial art because they are going to fight the Japanese samurai. So they evolve with it to become a growing up, more evolutions or better in certain way. So they have the edge to compete. Now, this is 2025. Wing Chun cannot be like in the movies. Wing Chun, to survive, need actually a bridging with today's science. Only that way it can grow. That is the Chinese way. That is the Chinese culture. Remember, they call the Chinese the descendant of dragon. So what is dragon? Dragon is an animal, a mysterious animal which is keeping changing, keeping growing. That's why the Chinese have the core of their their uh, their culture in the change, the book of change, keeping transform. So now we're going to get to a new era. This is an AI era. And now the bridging of the Chinese martial arts with the or Chinese Nei Gong and meditation with the science actually happened 100 years ago, as what I shared before. 100 years ago. And due to a lot of things happen in China, things get disturbed. Now, it's a time to grow again. Okay? So that's why I'm sharing on the bridging of traditional Chinese martial art or Wing Chun with the modern science. That is a step must go. Okay? Or else it'll get obsolete. It's outdated. So let's start. So many weeks ago, some friends sent me this on bridging Wing Chun tradition, internal art, and modern science. Because they heard about me, they went to do a search in the whatever they do. So I was listed here number one, and Sifu Mike Wiley number two, which is doing the bridging of Wing Chun tradition, internal art, and modern science to uh, support this era. Now, this thing is not my creations. As what I shared that 100 years ago, the Chinese already foresee it. Now, so bridging Chinese traditional Wing Chun, Nei Gong and modern science. You want to bridge the Chinese traditional Nei Gong or martial art or Wing Chun or other martial art with the modern science. Okay. This is an early stage in bridging the gap that emerged after the 1930s. We know the Chinese at 1930s already started it, but it was disrupt for past 100 years. So right now, what I'm doing is actually starting the activity again so that we're bridging the gap of that 100 years from 1930. Right now we jump to 2025. And in order to actually bridging the traditional Wing Chun, traditional Kung Fu, traditional Nei Gong meditation to the modern science, the first thing is it requires the authentic transmissions of Chinese tradition. You need that. You cannot have somebody call themselves grandmaster and create whatever which is baseless. Like people creating like sometimes people even believes that oh Wing Chun is from Hongga. This grandmaster said that. So if they believe that they're going to stand the stance like in the Hongga, using the body like Hongga. Well, it cannot be done that way because those are actually baseless. It doesn't have the root. And in order to bridge the tradition to the modern science, you need to have the deep root. Not whatever in the surface or whatever people believe. You need whatever in the deep root. And only that you can integrate, okay, with the modern science. So it requires authentic transmissions of Chinese tradition and the integrations of modern scientific method. And there are many scientific methods. Okay, so we need to know. And of course, we're going to use AI and so forth. However, you have to be cautious here. Utilizing AI as a tool for personal attack. Instead of doing this bridging, but if you're using the AI as a tool for personal attack without thorough understanding of the facts and using superficial empty term, one contribute to destructions of Chinese tradition for personal gain. We need to watch out for this. This is not going to lead to uh, a result which is helping everybody open up even a bigger paradigm for everybody because just get into the business, okay? Breeding the Chinese tradition with modern science, meaning that you open up a market, a new market, isn't it? So everybody be able to grow, and you grow, you can go teach and serve the public and so forth. That means you open up a big area or paradigm. And if you look at the so-called research today, if the research cannot make money, nobody will going to touch it. They're going to do research only things which they make money. That is just a reality in today's materialistic world. So to satisfy a materialistic world, the bridging of tradition, the Chinese tradition to the modern science, actually is opened up market so that everybody be able to make money because it has to satisfy people's making a living, right? Now, but you don't want to get into this. This is just destructive and it just screwing everybody. Okay. Now, before we get into the bridging the Chinese tradition with the modern science, tradition can be Nei Gong, your whatever, Wing Chun or whatever martial arts or whatever Kung Fu. before get into that, we need to first know something, or else this is impossible. So we need to know this is the Chinese term called 格局, landscape, perspective, or outlook. One need to have the big picture or big picture thinker as a big picture thinker or person with perspective in order to do the job. Okay. Today, we don't understand the Chinese in the ancient, like even General Qi Shi Guang, we don't understand. Why? Because today's Chinese and in Kung Fu especially, they don't have the Geji as the ancient Chinese. So we need to learn now what is the landscape, the outlook, the perspective of the ancient Chinese. So let me share with you with the picture because one picture is better than 1,000 words, right? Okay, now look at this picture. This is the aliens and this is the human world. Okay, this is what the ancient Chinese like Qi Shi Guang thought about. Okay, so I purposely chose this Independent Days uh, photo here to show you. This is huge. So when you want to understand General Qi Shi Guang's like all this transform that transform all this thing, it is this huge, this wide screen. So when Qi Shi Guang talk about Kung Fu, is this type of perspective, this type of landscape, this type of outlook. Okay. Now you look at today's Kung Fu, Wing Chun. They don't have this perspective. You know what they have? This. There's two guys doing there, standing there, playing with their hand. Yet the Qi Shi Guang, all those level on that have this perspective. Whatever they carry out is with this perspective. And today, like Wing Chun, you have only this. And even worse, this is a movie kind of stuff. So in perspective wise, this is going to go nowhere. So you're keeping, you see Wing Chun for past 100 years, keeping playing with the hand, while the Qi Ji Guang is playing with momentum. Okay. Now, so this is about perspective. We need to know what is the perspective. You know, when people talk about this, we don't think about this because they mean this, not this. Now, in today's world, the AI world, when you talk about fighting, it is this. It is this. Lined up for your AI robots. It is not your MMA in the cage. One guy fight another guy. It is not this. This is very narrow, very small. It is this. You look into the battlefield, the real battlefield. Right now, every company, every country like US, China, prepare for the war. Isn't it this? Not this. This is just a competitions, the what they call that competition combat. It's kind of entertainment, isn't it? People watch. For the life and death, it is this. Okay. So say for the Qi Ji Guang, it is this. That's why, as I shared in the previously, Qi Ji Guang is interested only in what? His Mandarin duck array. He can train discipline, say 6 farmers in 1 month, really disciplined, build it like this, and you can have the champion there. They take you down within seconds. That's what I just shared last time. And it's in the history, it's like after that, of this type of perspective, there is no king of Kung Fu in China. There is no the top Japanese warrior to scare of because their perspective is this. For Qi Ji Guang is the Mandarin Duck Array, Yin Yang Zhen. And then they add in firearm. So it obsolete your who is the best fighter. So like this, you have your big body, the guy who born with a big body will win and so forth. Well, in the AI world, it's not necessary. Like, you know, it's a different world. So I share with you about this perspective. This is very important. If you keeping thinking your Wing Chun is this way and this way, you're going to live in the movie and live in the sports. It's no longer like Qi Shi Guang developed the Chinese Kung Fu and Wing Chun is for the battlefield. Okay? It's for daily life. So this is how huge it is, not the small two-person stuff who is the king of Wing Chun. It is this the entire array. It's not who is the best fighter within the ring for entertainment. We need to know that. Okay. Today, if the robot being programmed machine learning in momentum handling of the Qi Ji Guang 32 momentum, do you think any of the champion can fight one of those robots? And how many robots is there? Yet you only have one guy, one champion out of thousands of people. So again, it back to General Qi Shi Guang's Mandarin Duck Array. It is using technology. It just boosts up the technology. And the reason I share this with you is when you are bridging the tradition with the modern science, you need to have first the perspective. You don't want that the guy who bridging is talking this and you're thinking this. The guy who is bridging is talking this and you're thinking in the cage fighting. Okay. Now, after you see the difference, see how big a scope is this, the outlook, the perspective. See how narrow this thing is. Same thing is this with this and this. So, landscape, outlook, perspective. If you have the perspective or outlook only for hand techniques, you'll never fight in terms of momentum because momentum is much larger perspective where your arm hand techniques perspective cannot reach because it's limited in your perspective. This is not philosophy, this is real life, okay? So if the opponent have this type of perspective, this type of technology, one better raise up to this. One cannot just keeping doing this type of stuff. Okay? Now, so bridging of the Chinese Kung Fu or meditation and so forth to the modern science, you need authentic true transmissions. Without it, we don't even know what the heck is going on. And on the other hand, we need modern science method. Science is not some philosophy concept. It is something which is implement. You want to implement this AI robots, you need the science, the engineering. It's not just a concept. It's not making movies, but it certainly is never this. It is far, far away. Okay? Now, the bridging of the authentic, the tradition and the modern science, as we shared before, is like the Buddha's teaching, the core of the Buddha teaching from India. You merge with the or bridge with the Chinese Taoist, Confucians, and so forth. Once you merge, it grow. Okay, not just one plus one equal to two. No, it grow for many x many times of the size, and it lasts for thousands of years in terms of the Zen. You look at that when the Buddha's teaching brought by Bodhidharma to China merge with the Chinese culture and so forth and get this Zen. This is about 1,000 years ago until today. And you see that the Buddhism in the India is become weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. That's the life. It's like you have an iPhone. That's why at every year you need to have a new smartphone because that's the way how it grow. Okay. Now, looking the authentic true transmissions. Of course, the authentic true transmission, you have to know what is this, who is it, what happened, and what is this, how is it work, how is it developed, details. That's the true transmissions. To confirm that this is a real thing which you want to transform. Okay, it's like you want to transform a dragon into, or just say it this way, you want to transform a tiger into a flying tiger. You want to get the real tiger, and then you put into the AI wing or robotic wing, so that is a flying tiger. And first, you need to know the you need to get the real tiger. Okay, and of course, come with the true transmissions is the endorsement, because this is one of the thing to make sure, one of the check and balance to make sure that that is the true transmissions. You cannot say, oh, this is tiger, there is the tiger, and you look at the cat, it is the tiger too. So you need to have a multiple check. So you need to check for the true transitions of what is this, how does it work, how is it developed, and also is it really that you have the endorsement, or did somebody make that or creations, which is you don't have roots, or what is the roots of it, even if it is effective and really good things that this new creations. Okay, so a new creation today, is it valid? Yes, it's valid, but you need to know the what is this, how does it work, how is it developed, detail, what is this come from, who is the guy who developed that, and it comes your endorsement. Like today you have the patents. Who designed this? Which professor in which university or which design engineer in which corporations? That is the endorsement, and then the technology inside there. You need to know that in order to bridge and to transform it, to to grow it. Okay. So as I shared the other day, that's why we need the reference marker from the Buddhist teaching side, general Qi Ji Guang side, and the Hong Mun side, all the thing to make sure that we really know what is the true transmissions of Wing Chun. If we want to bridge Wing Chun, okay? So that take care of this part. Bridging needs authentic true transmissions. And then there's the part, modern scientific methods. Well, a question will be asked, where is your scientific method and data of study? Who do it? What it is? When? How? All these things. Okay? It's not just a concept of philosophy, it's down to earth stuff. Okay? It's from the science and engineering. Now, of course, in science, scientific, you have something called scientific peer review, okay, which is a quality control process where researcher, scholar work is scrutinized by other experts in the same field to ensure the validity, original, and significance of the finding before publications. Well, usually people, when you say that there's a bridging between the tradition and the science, people always ask for this and use this as a political reason to put down people. Same with using this AI stuff just to put down people without any reasons. But with the what they call it arguments or with the alibi. Okay. Now, in the real world, when the bridge started, this thing doesn't exist. That's why it needs to begin somewhere because this is for a mature things. Like after in the university, you have 10, 10 years of people working on that thing. But what if this is very new stuff? Well, with this, I want to tell you a story. Okay? I don't want to drop name here, but this is the story. So I graduate to get my master degree in Iowa State University. So at that time, I have a chance to come down to Silicon Valley to interview with a analog design company, a huge company, which no name. Okay. So there are a few guru of analog design, the pioneer forefather of analog design working there, working in the group where I was interviewed. And well, luckily I got the job. So the first week I was, joining the company, I was there, a young rookie. I met this guru where his name is in the analog electronic textbooks. I met two of them. And so I met two of them and I start to talk about which paper, remember I was talking about this paper stuff, the scientific, peer review, all this thing with the article and whatever, the publications. So I asked the guru, I said, sir, so how do you guys create this really, really unimaginary stuff from beginning? So I was keeping talking about him, about the papers and everything, peer, who, which professor and everything, and who the research. So that guru, you know, he's talking with another guru, okay? And this is after the lunch. I think they drink some beer too and having fun. This is like in the yappy time. So he said, okay, come, Hendrik, come, come, come. Let me show you how we create all this thing. because those people working in your paper and all those people peer, for review everything, those are a different world, he said. They don't know. Let me show you. So I just following him, walking through the aisle in the office area, and he bring me into his lab. In his lab, you can see that all thing, whatever they testing, the their idea, all the testing built out is over there. And he told me, he said, Hendrik, this is how we got this. Not those paper, not those expert on critics on this and that. This is how we make it from nothing. And his famous words for me is this. He said, Hendrik, at your time when you was born, does your parent give you name or after you was born? I said, of course, after I was born. Otherwise, I don't, they don't know the kid is either a boy or a girl. And that's what he told me. Remember that, Hendrik, when you here working, when you want to create, invent something or create something, new product, is always that way. It is from nothing, but the will of everything has a beginning. Put the first step on and continue on. As what I see in that room, there are thousands of experimental boards there with electrical components and so forth. And he said, only after we succeed this, we calculate, we get the system polished, and then we give it out to the academic. They do the job of your scientific stuff as you study at the school. So today I'd like to share this with you. This is a real incident. That incident also helped me to get my patent because it's not about reading paper, not philosophy, not concept. Okay, so everything needs a beginning at somewhere. Same thing, you want to bridging Wing Chun and so forth, you need to go somewhere. There is no such thing as a scientific peer review, those things. Well, today, of course, the AI recognize this. So this is what the AI say. Recognition follow pioneers' work, not precede it. Every new field starts with pioneers who do work that most people don't yet understand, except even notice. When Galileo applied physics to motion in the scientific community, didn't recognize it, they resist it. It's always the case. When early neuroscientists linked meditation to measurable brainwave changes, that was fringe for decades before becoming mainstream. So, in principle, lack of universal recognition does not disqualify someone from being a pioneer. Like the guru I share with you. They are a real person, the person I respect. I owe them their educations, which they give me. It is the type of people. Am I like this? No, I'm just learning, apprentices of these people. So the same thing with the bridging with the authentic truth transmissions and modern science method. It is that way. You can ask, oh, do you have a paper, a peer review, all those things? Asking this question is like the guru in analog design told me, Hendrik, asking that question meaning you don't know. Okay? You are not the insider. Now, so in today's world, say in Wing Chun, Like in my book, Wing Chun Nei Gong Code. This is why I say, as the text above notes, as the text above notes that direct research on specific effect of Wing Chun is limited. However, study on similar mind-body practice provides strong evidence for the general principle at play. Because the science and others study is limited, is just a beginning. However, you have the mind-body practice, which you have the strong evidence because, say, for example, on this, people have already, okay, linking to the meditations of measuring bandwidth and so forth. That you can use it is a mind-body development, okay, mind-body practice. So it doesn't matter, it's yoga, it's Wing Chun, it's meditation, it's Taoist, is Buddhist, whatever. A mind body practice is a mind body practice. It's going to stay on the same platform. Okay. And from that platform, you start on the other thing, like Wing Chun, for example. So, 100 years ago in 1920s, 1930s, like Tang Hao, like Ma Li Tang, all these college graduate or higher education people, or even the 峨眉十二庄 Zhou Qianchuan, who is educated in England, if I'm not wrong. Okay, I share in the last YouTube. They are related to Professor Charles McCrory, which is the top PE expert. Okay, with the research contribution in all this strength testing, classifications, indices, motor skill, and whole kind of stuff at 1930s. They start it already. That's why what I'm doing is just jumpstart whatever they have. I'm nobody. I just say, okay, this is done. Okay, continue on it. And today, for me, I'm using uh, Dr. Jack Daniels methods, because when you are doing a scientific bridging, you need to have a scientific methods. Okay, and on top of this, with Professor Charles McCloy, 1930s, the foundations, I'm using the Dr. Jack Daniels method. Well, sadly to say that Dr. Jack Daniels just passed away last month, September 12th, 25. Okay. So who is Professor Jack Daniel? So here you say that he's a this medal record men's modern pentathlon represent U.S. Olympic games. Okay, and so Jack Daniels was an American exercise physiologist, running coach, and a coach of Olympic athlete, named the world best coach by uh, Runner's World magazine. Okay, so I'm following I'm studying his methods. That's what I say again. You need to have a scientific method. I cannot go just go create whatever nonsense, right? So one is from the Professor Macroy, one is from Dr. Daniels. Okay. So we know who he is, have proof track records. Okay. And of course, we want the people who have track records. Okay. So in Olympics, coach of the Olympic athletes. So this is one of the books he published. It's a very good book. So it's said that Dr. Daniels passed away last month. Okay. Anybody who really interested in the exercise, fitness, and everything, even though this is for running, the running formula, but it applied to many exercise, applied to Wing Chun too, or any Chinese Kung Fu. Okay, so it's seriously that is the method which is I'm using for this bridging. So another on the other hand, for the mind body is like this paper by this author, you know, it deals with the slow regulation, breathing, natural products of inhale exhale symmetry, and all this, okay, all the solid uh, uh, foundations, which is I'm using. So that's why when I had my YouTube and asked AI to look into what I'm saying, then this AI said, yes, the method of bridging traditional Wing Chun concept with modern science present in the video appear to be valid in their approach and consistent with the scientific understanding of exercise, physiology, and breathing. Of course, you have Dr. McCroyle, you got this Dr. Daniels behind. So for sure, it is solid stuff. And so the speaker explicitly linked the six physiological states of the 1850 Shilin Tao to heart rate zone. If you read about it, there'll be heart rate zone stuff. Okay? Because of running and so forth, right? So, and then you have this like the pelvic floor muscle and diaphragm synchronizations, IAP, those kind of things. Those also is based on today's sports science, proven. And if you look at the conclusions and the speaker's approach of mapping traditional practice to modern science metrics like heart rate, zone, and blood flow distributions allow for more precise and variable understanding of physiological effect of Wing Chun training. That is the bottom line. You need to have an army of this. You need to have a really solid training based on the bridging of the traditional and the science. You have a true transmissions of the tradition. You have a solid scientific methods. When they merge, then you get this thing. All this aligned up. It's not this, it's not this. That is the intention. And so AI recognize what I'm doing. And of course, they have so much database to check on. And also the AI recognize this. Say, you are right to the point that out. My apology. As an AI, I am processing the video through its transcript, and unfortunately, the text doesn't describe the visual element like specific Apple Watch tracking data being shown on the screen. If the video indeed display actual Apple Watch tracking data, that would certainly strengthen its claim of scientific validity by provide visual evidence to back up the spoken explanations of heart rate zone, recover state, and so forth. Now, this is important. And AI doesn't know me, but all this tracking, okay, all this tracking, you have to have a quality and up with that standard type of instruments. It's not that you just can do whatever you want. Again, this back to this. Back to how you collect data. What is your scientific method? How do you collect data? Okay, based on what, right? Now, so it is the beginning. What AI doesn't know, because it's not a mature subject. So it's like when Galileo applied physics to motion, the scientific community didn't recognize it. They resist it. And when early neuroscientists linked meditation to measure brainwave change, that was fringe for decades before becoming mainstream. So even AI, okay, they will not know certain thing because this is a new stuff. But they do recognize that you need all this equipment to get the data. Even if you have a scientific method, even if you have a proper scientific methods, like Dr. McCroyle teaching, you know, and Dr. Daniels teaching, you still need a really solid data collector collections instrument. So, well, for example, this is the heart rate and breathing rate device I'm using. Guess what? Massimo said the choice of leading hospital worldwide. Is that great? That type of grade of the instrument. So this is what it is. And here is for measuring breathing rate. Okay, you can measure with the respirate. Respirate. Or you measure it with this to breathe. Okay, to breathe. And it turns out that respirate and to breathe, they are in the same company. And now this is from the to breathe to measure. You can measure the exhale portion, the breath duration portions, and respirate. They are all this clinically significant blood pressure reductions and FDA and so forth. Okay, so like you have also this the go direct respirations belt. There are many things, and you need to have like here it say that. Okay, here visual data from a widely recognized wearable device would offer a concrete example of how the abstract physiological concepts are measured and observed in practice. You need a proper instrument. Well, these things are not cheap, right? So for the bridging, I share with you already in my books and so forth is always using this Apple Watch and all this well-known devices, or else you cannot trust it. Now, so is it the end of it? Bridging it. That's it. No. So in today's world, the AI world, even the meditations, okay, The meditation. Now we have a personalized meditation by using meditation app that incorporate AI. So meaning that your meditations instructions will fit to you uh, uh, from the meditation app, which is incorporate with the artificial intelligence. So AI power feature craft sensor based on your strength, your state of goals, notes, feedback, and allow you to customize them with your own text prompt. This is what today. So when you bridge the ancient with the science, you will get to this. But this is still not what I want because this is today, 2025. Okay, what I want is the Wing Chun cloning, like the Darth Vader's cloning, because you don't have time. Today's time is for human become less and less. You don't have 10 years to sit down there training your Xiu Lim Tao and keeping doing it, and someday you'll get it. You don't have that time. So you need to have cloning, ASAP using AI to clone you. That is the idea. That's what in my mind since the kid. So if you read my book, Meditation Matrix, which is released almost how many years? 7 years ago, almost eight now. This 2025, almost 2026. You have a meditation process modeling and machine learning section. So inside there, you have a meditation practice. You get into the meditation process model. You map inside there, and the meditation process model get into, merge it with the machine learning, and then you got a meditation process model with machine learning. So your meditator there, it check you on your condition right away. You don't have to do anything. It actually have the machine learning and know how to coach you. They know which solutions you get in. So I was working on this in 2018. That's why I wrote that book. Okay. So it is not, it's even step further than today's allow you to customize them with your own text prompt. No, you want to make the machine, the AI, really intelligent that he know you and he just be able to train you. So that way it be able to, for everybody, be able to tailor different people so that they clone you. So you say Xiu Lim Tao, the idea is you say Xiu Lim Tao on the practice Xiu Lim Tao, disregard of which person is there, male, female, the age of the person, you get it in according to you, your data, and according to your data at that day, reading your heart rate, your breathing rate, your heart rate variability. It just changing the entire program to train your Xiu Lim Tao, give you the instruction. So keeping checking you, monitoring you, and feedback. That's the idea. That's what I want. Only after that, Xiu Lim Tao will stay in the world forever. Remember, I said, my world fade away, but you stay. Only if we can be cloning. So anybody sit down on that training with their gadget, then you clone. Even though different people have different style, but the core is always there. But the entire thing has to base on the bridging of the ancient tradition and the modern science. You need to have that first. Otherwise, you don't have nothing, right? And so right now we have it now with all this measurement and everything, heart rate and so forth, so forth. Now, meditation practice, map into the meditation process. Let me share with you a secret. Why do you think I go chasing around try to learn the Surangama Sutta? Because what I want is this. So, what is about this Surangama Sutta? What's so big deal about it? Read about it. Surangama Sutta describes 25 ways to achieve enlightenment and 50 states physiological that can be manifest during meditation. The two concepts are related but distinct aspects of meditative path. So in Surangama Sutta, 25 prominent bodhisattva and arhat describe their personal method of achieving perfect penetration, samadhi. If you watch my YouTube before, let's talk about samadhi. We talk about uh the Xiu Lim Tao, Wing Chun Xiu Lim Tao is designed based on that, isn't it? So the Wing Chun Xiu Lim Tao is based on, it's not here anymore, the mindfulness and everything, call your self back, your conscious back. Those are samadhi stuff. So you have a really logical, really clear descriptions of the true transmissions of the 25 ways. As the other day I shared that you say I practice with breathing, counting breathing, but the other day, the day I have a cold, I cannot do breathing. That's why I say you're going to do N1. Where is that thing from? It's from the Surangama. The idea is from Surangama. So the 25 methods are summarized in the sutta as the follow: the six sense object. You can use the six sense object, the six sense faculty, the six consciousness, and seven elements, fire, and all these things to get into these states. So if you cannot get with your counting breathing because you have a cold and your nose is stuck, use the N1. That's how I found out thing. With this process, you'll be able to map this into meditation process really clearly. And then you merge it with the machine learning. And then over here, okay, the meditator's profile, meaning that once you sit down, like you have this gadget, your heart rate variability, your breathing rate, your heart rate, all intact. We know your profile data and we know your past profile data. And then based on that, with the machine learning, I want to use the words, it kinds of coach you. But I would say that it's cloning you. Okay. So, like in my book, Decoding, no, Wing Chun Nei Gong uh, Code. Why do I call it code? Wing Chun Nei Gong Code. If you look at this on the beginning practice assessment, so it's talk about monitoring the heart rate and monitoring the heart rate variability and the monitoring the graph, the result of the sessions, the heart rate variability increase and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so this in the book is to show how one going to what do you call it? Know what is going on, analyze oneself with all the data, scientific tracking. But actually, it's not. My intention is this. So, in my book, Decoding Wing Chun, uh, Wing Chun Nei Gong Code, Wing Chun Inceptions, all the rules already intact. So it might one day, some days get to the point that you don't have to know whatever in my book because everything is programmed or machine learning within the AI already. So that is ready for cloning. So everybody will get the same informations. Everybody will get the training, which is tailored to themselves. And thus, I want this. I don't want this. Okay. So this is to share with you the world I'm in, the landscape I'm in. It is not what you guys think. I'm not interested to be the grandmaster, the most authentic Wing Chun grandmaster, or this guy fighting this guy, there's a top fighter. I'm not. Because my bottom line is the cloning. Only that cloning and go toward the cloning. And that cloning will help human beings. Because, say, actually it already exists. The N1 actually have already programmed it into a certain AI. I just want to tell you what it is. Yes, it has been programmed into the certain AI. And you can have the N1, the breathing and so forth inside there. You just lay down, like in the plane. When you need rest in in the plane while you're flying, international, you put that in. You get your rest in the plane to nurture your chi, recover your body. Okay. So many things has been implemented because that thing is start since 2018 when I involved in with those training the AI engineer for doing this kind of stuff. So that is what I like to share with you today. The world is not what you think. The world is much huge. I am not the only guy who know this. There's a lot of things happen. I just share with you that what is going on, and I just share with you that Wing Chun is a deep art, and Wing Chun can benefit humankind in the AI era. Okay, so the future of Wing Chun, it will be like the Chinese say that Wing Chun is for uh, strengthening the body or for the fitness and the self-defense. While self-defense is the more the based on the Qigong momentum, which is tested in the war zone for the training. And for the fitness is this Buddhist stuff, which is what I am focused in to make cloning because we are heading into a really high stress and high requirement era. I am lucky. I'm almost 70. I'm going to build out soon. But the next two generations, their life is not easy. So unless we have something to help, nobody can provide the full answer. But everybody, if you have a little solutions, it make a difference. And so Wing Chun be able to provide the solutions. And thus, in my view, Wing Chun will change to change to a balance between the combat and and the fitness part, the recovery part, or like the other day I say it is the calling yourself part or the mindful focus effortless, mindful, focused part because you human need that. So this is what I like to share with you today. It is a different world. And if you don't understand me, no worry, because we all living in a different world.